What's up, everybody? Brent here. I just auditioned yesterday for the Disney College Program character performer position. Oh, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot to cover, so let me just get right to it. So they told you to arrive between 5:30 and 6 for sign-in for the audition starting at 6 o'clock. They said the earliest you could get there was 5 o'clock. And so I got there at 5 o'clock, and there was about 25 other people there already lined up in groups waiting. I happened to be in the group me for the people who are going, just to kind of get like a feel of like who's going to go, someone to talk to beforehand, and just feel it out. And so when I got there, I walked up and I found somebody from the group chat with a big group of people, and we just got talking right away about, we're like, oh, we're also nervous, hope we do this, blah, blah, blah. A lot of just conversation, time-consuming things. And around 5:20, because they opened the doors 20 minutes early for us, because there was a large group, getting to be a large group outside. So they opened the doors early and let us start lining up, and then they gave the spiel about making sure we were all applied or applying like very soon in the next like 2 days. And well, like, yes, we are. And then they made sure we all had our Disney Auditions profiles made. So if you don't have a Disney Auditions profile made beforehand, I do suggest that you do it, because the cell signal there is 0 to none in the building. So make that at disneyauditions.com. Go to profile and just follow the steps to create a new profile for yourself. So after that, we started signing in with the website they had us sign in at, and they gave us numbers. I was number 20. So then they had an option for you to type in the website, or there was a QR code that you could scan. And for your sign-in, you simply put in your Disney Auditions login, and then you answered like, yes, I'm above 18, I'm not a current cast member, stuff like that. And then afterwards, you have to take a just profile picture of yourself to show what you looked like the day of. And so I had someone take a picture of me, and then we swapped, and I took a picture of my friend. And then we all went back in and we started stretching and just having conversations to keep the mood light. And then the 40 minutes passed and 6 o'clock hit, and they said, all right, it's time to start. We're going to take the first group of 50. Now that would be 3 groups, because there were about 170 of us there, give or take. So I was part of the first 50. So we went back into the audition room, and they said, welcome, we hope you're going to have lots of fun today. This first part we're going to be learning is a small animation, and then we're going to be doing a march that you're going to repeat. And so they were basically saying, have lots of fun, put lots of your character into it, go big. Imagine you already have the job and you're just going down Main Street and performing for the thousands of people who have lined up and cannot wait to see you. And so the animation they told us to do was pick a well-known Disney character, and you're on a parade float. You can't like get down, you can't interact with people like closely, but you have to be waving down to the people down there and interacting with guests, and make sure you got that connection with them from all the way at the top of a float. And so we had 4 counts of 8 with the music. They happened to be playing This Is Africa, so that was kind of fun to dance to. So I chose to be Goofy. Fun little story about that in the beginning. He was like, this is your chance to become, like characters you've never become before. You could become friends with Mickey, Minnie, and then he pointing to different people. And for me, he pointed and he said Goofy, and I said, oh, yo. And a couple people laughed, and he did too. And then So I thought that was kind of funny. So I stuck with Goofy just so, because I got recognized as a possible Goofy. So I thought that may be cool to stick with. So after that, we practiced the animation like twice, 3 times, so you could get a feel for what you wanted to do. And they told you to keep going bigger every time and figure out what you want to do. After that, we learned a very simple march. It was 2 counts of 8 that we repeated 3 times across the floor. So it was very simple. I'll probably show it here. So here it is. So this is the round 1 march that I'm going to be going over. So it's very simple. It's 2 little counts of 8. And so the first one, you start on your right foot and you start marching. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go to a box step with arms overhead, cross over to the right, arms to the right, step back on the left, arms to the left, step out on the right, arms to the right, step forward, arms to the left. And then it's a grapevine with arms going in a circle. So grapevine is right foot out, left foot back, right foot out, clap together, and then it's a 2-step turn. 1, 2, or 3-step turn. Clap. So, doing it again, slower, and then I'll do it at pace with music. So 5, 6, 7, 8. March, 2, 3, 4. Box, 2, 3, 4. Roll, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now, at pace with music. It is Waka Waka by Shakira, and your animation starts roughly around 20 seconds when the lyrics kick in, and then you'll do that for 4 counts of 8. I'm going to do it again and count out the beats to the music because I can't do it with the music because of copyright issues. So I'm going to be counting it out, and I will do basically what I did just before. Alright, so 5, 6, 7, 8. March, 2, 3, 4. Box, 2, 3, 4. Grapevine, 2, 3. Turn, 2, 3. March, 2, 3, 4. Box, 2, 3, 4. Grapevine, 2, 3. Clap. Turn, 2, 3. Clap. March, 2, 3, 4. Box, 2, 3, 4. Grapevine. Clap. Turn, 2, 3. Clap. And that's the march. So we did that march 3 times. Well, you did the animation and then the march 3 times. And after that, we were told to move. We did it in groups of 4 across the floor. And so after that, we had kind of this dance party afterwards where we just all kind of gathered together, and choreographer said, follow me. And we did like some like fun little things like swooping together, clapping, having a good time. It was really fun. And then she told us all to sit down. I was next to a couple friends of mine, and then the casting guy who is judging us, Kent, comes up and says, all right, this is where it gets serious. Nobody likes this part. I would hire you all if I could, but you know, we have to narrow things down. So if your number is called, please stay. If not, you are no longer in consideration for character performer, and you can go home. And so the mood instantly changed to nerve-wracking, like, oh my gosh, am I gonna make it? My heart was thumping as fast as a jackrabbit. And he was going through the numbers. He was like going, I think he said 11, 12, 15. He said 19, he said 20. And I was like, here. And I don't remember any of the numbers after that because I'm like, oh, I made it. And so after he finished calling the numbers, he said, if your number was called, please stay. If your number was not called, you're free to go. Thank you, and you're no longer in consideration. Thank you for coming out, and we hope to see you again soon. And so a couple I said goodbye to a couple of different people, and then the rest of us gathered together, and he did roll call again. He called out our numbers. He said here when our number was called, and he said, okay, now we are going to fill out some paperwork and get your height measured. So we got filed out in the hallway because they had to pull in the next 50 people into the audition room. We started filling out our paperwork of our school, our personal information, and then they pulled out their height machine, or basically anything you have at the doctor's office. It's basically that. So they took our heights, and mine was recorded at 5'10" and a quarter when I was measured before at the doctor's office as 5'11" and a half. So I got measured down 1.5 inches, which I thought was kind of odd, but I'm not too disappointed because that's like a sweet spot for the princes. So after that, they took our paperwork, and then we were told to hang in there while they were doing the audition with the next group, and then the group after that, and then we would all join together for round 2. And so we waited. We had some conversations. I played chess on some guy's phone. And funny story, while we're waiting, 2 girls come back, and she goes, did the EMTs come back this way? And we're like, no. And then there was one girl in the back that says, yes, they're back here. It's all under control. So what happened was there was a person who was auditioning who had an allergic reaction. And so emergency services were contacted, and they came to simply make sure that she was okay. She was perfectly fine. She said that she was okay. She was able to continue with her audition. So that was kind of just like, oh, there's a ambulance here. Why? And we had already been in the audition room, so the people outside thought it was something that happened in the audition room. But it was just someone had an allergic reaction after their audition was done. So we waited for a decent amount of time. I'd say like an hour for the other 2 groups to finish up with their dancing, their animation, and their measuring. And so after that, we got brought into the room in which we signed in. It's a bigger rehearsal room. And we were taught another animation. We were given another animation scenario, and we were going to learn a longer dance. And so the animation scenario was, if you know Monsters, Inc., you know that the monsters they get a door, they go through, they scare the kid, and they get out. The objective of this was you're supposed to pick 3 different monsters and go through 3 different doors. It didn't have to be to bedrooms. You could go anywhere, but you had to tell the story through your body. So I personally chose 3 different monsters. For the first one, I picked a wiggly, like jelly monster that went through a very smelly, stinky room. I picked up a sock, I smelled it, I was like, ugh. And I went up, I held my breath when I scared the kid, and then when I got out, I was like, The second one, I picked a crab monster, so I had pinchers, I walked sideways, and then it was very dark room, so I clicked on the light, and then there were 2 kids, and I'm like, okay, which one do I scare first? And then I jumped, I scared the one, I flip jump, I scared the other, and then I jumped, so I faced both of them and scared them. And then I jumped, I was walking out, and I'm like, wait, I stopped, I clicked off the light, and then I went out, closed the door. And then for the last one, I became like this zombie. And then I opened the door, and I realized there's a giant pool full of kids. So I go, and I do a diving pose, and I dive, and I start swimming. And then I just flail in the water, like beating the water, making like the most ridiculous faces. And then I swim back to the door, I crawl out of the pool, I pull the door shut, and then I like start getting the water off of me. So that's what a layout is of what I did for my personal animation. One thing they said for the animation, that was the more important part rather than the dance. They were looking at the animation more because they wanted to make sure you could tell a story. And one thing they said in specifics with my animation was that make sure you open and close the door. They wanted to make sure that you were telling that you were going into the room and you were coming out of the room, not just appearing into the room. Now, do keep in mind, this was my animation for this audition here in Orlando. It is likely to change in other places and with different people running, your audition. So this is just a good one to keep in mind, but also be open to getting a different animation thrown at you. This is just an example of what they would look for. And so the dance that we learned was started out as more simple of a dance, because this was actually a dance, no longer a march. And then it got a little more complicated as it went on. If you're a dancer, you're going to have a fine time. But if you're not a dancer, have no fear. We go through it very slowly. My instructor was very good at using non-dance terms and explaining it normally to people. We went very slowly. She answered everybody's questions. She was very specific at what she was looking for and what different poses were supposed to look like. And so the dance was to a Jonas Brothers song that I'm forgetting, but if I remember what it is, I'll probably leave it here. But this is just a disclaimer, just because my dance was the dance I just performed, does not mean that's going to be your dance for your audition. I've been going to Disney auditions for several months now, and I've done a different dance every time. Now, this does not mean that you are not going to find anything in this dance in your audition. I have found very similar moves throughout every dance I've done. So this is just to give you a taste of what they might ask you to perform. So enjoy. Okay, now I'm going to be going through the second round dance. I decided I wanted to do a little more of it, so might as well just do it. So, you start out simple again. It's a simple little march. So you start on the right foot and you go 1, clap, 2, clap. Next, step touch to the side, touch, touch. Then it's another grapevine. 1, 2, 3, clap. Then step pulls, step, pull your right foot to you, step with your left, pull with the right. Then we have pivot turns, in which you step on the right, then face the back, step on your right, face the front, and then it's the march from before, but with your hands up in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it's a little trickier step. It's a heel, toe, kind of like kick out, but not. So the first one, your heel's out, to the front, and then your toe goes back, then you turn, put your feet together, clap, then heel out, toe back, face the front, feet together, clap, or feet together before. Now, one thing they did say is they really wanted levels on this. So they really wanted you to lean back and lean forward, turn, clap. Lean back, lean forward, turn, clap. After that was step to face the back, hop, hop, hop. Then you get a swoop down, bring it up, and then kick out, not that high, with a flexed foot, not pointed. After that are some things called shake and bacon, or I call them step snaps. Step out to the left, arms up to the right. And I like to look where my fingers go. Snap, step, drag, snap. After that was a, stepping forward because I can't really go back, is a slide on the right foot, and then a ball change, which a ball change, all it is, step back on the left, step front on the right. Weight is on the right foot. Then we have two three-step turns. So then you go 1, 2, 3, clap. And that's also one thing that they did was they leaned into it. Instead of just coming here to clap, it was out here. So your legs kind of extended. 1, 2, 3, clap. Then you swooped all the way down, brought it up at a diagonal, and then you step on the right, kick with the left, then you get down in this prepped position. This is where it gets a little more complicated. So your left foot is down, the weight is on your left foot, your right arm's out in front, your left arm is out. And you'll be doing a PK turn, which simply, you'll bring your arms in like this, and you'll turn with your picking up your right foot to face the front. I can't turn because of carpet sliding over, so you'll turn to face the front, and then fist up to end it. It'll make more sense with some counts on how it'll feel, and I'm going to do that next. This was just to go through the movements. So you'll have to do this twice through during the song. So we start, it's by the Jonas Brothers, What a Man Gotta Do, and we start around 1:30 when they go, what a man gotta do, what a man gotta do, when the chorus kicks in, at like 1:30 seconds. So, after you do the whole routine one time through, then you'll have to jam out for 4 counts of 8. While it's going, ooh, or whatever. And then it'll kick back in on what a man gotta do again. So, let me get the tempo straight. Alright. 5, 6, 7, 8. Step, clap, touch, touch. Grapevine, clap, step, pull, pivot, pivot. Wave, wave, marching, wave. Kick, back, clap, kick, back, clap, step, step, hop, 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 scoop, up, kick. Snap, step, snap, slide, 2, ball, change. Turn, 2, 3, turn, 2, 3, clap. Swoop, down, step, kick, step, turn, 7 and 8. And then you'll jam out for 4 counts of 8 doing whatever you want to do. And then you'll do that whole entire routine again. So that is the round 2 dance. So what happened next was they took us into groups of 5, and they had us, the rest of us line up in the hallway. And in those groups of 5, you would run the dance twice in a row with a small break where you could just jam out in the middle. So we did the dance twice, and they gave us a chance to breathe between the dance and the animation. Then we had the animation. The animation lasted for 1 minute. You had 1 minute to complete all 3 of your monsters, and it was to a song, I forgot to mention. We had our animation to Calling All the Monsters by China Anne McClain. So it was kind of funny to do it to that song. So you had a minute to do your animation, and then they let you know when that was halfway done, and they would count down 3, 2, 1, and you'd end in your monster pose. So afterwards, she says you're good, you would stand there until the judge was ready to dismiss you. They said they were not doing a 3rd round like I've heard in other videos. The only reason they would ask you to stay is if they wanted to do some extra measurements for if, like, say, they want to clarify because maybe you are the proper height for something, but they don't know if you have like the right like arm length, or like you seem like you're too thin or too wide for some different costumes, or if they wanted to inquire about your like tattoos or piercings. So that was the only reason that we were told that they were going to stay. I didn't hear anything about reading or fitting for costumes other than taking measurements. But they said if we didn't call your number after your group is done, you are free to go. I got done around, I'd say 9:30, because I was one of the very first. I was the second group to go out of those of us who stayed, and I'd say out of the 170-ish that were there to begin with, there were about 70 people who got into the second round. So as long as you go into this audition with the mindset of having fun, well, number one, because that's the most important thing. Two, not being worried if you're not a dancer, or if you're a dancer and you're worried about your animation. As long as you're having fun and you're willing to make a small fool out of yourself, you should do perfectly fine. I personally felt very ridiculous having my body shaken every which direction doing a jiggly monster, but when I was doing that stinky jiggly monster thing, I made the choreographer laugh, so I thought that was I was doing a good job. So yeah, if you have fun, if you go into it thinking that you got this and you're gonna have fun and you have no holdbacks on, oh, I don't want to do that, I'm gonna look too like silly, I'll look too over the top. If you don't feel like you're doing over the top, you're not doing it enough. So yeah, those are my tips and tricks for the Disney College Program Character Performer Audition. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, maybe leave them below. I'm glad to answer them. And we hope you enjoyed just a little bit of auditioning Main Street Magic.